Let's talk about getting your comedy special on streaming services like Hulu and Amazon and Netflix, and how's that even possible, and what are the different avenues you could do with distribution of your newly finished comedy special. Hey, I'm Zach. I'm a stand-up comedian and filmmaker, and I want to talk about self-distribution and also distribution companies for your comedy special. And this is all based on the experience that I've had with my TV show, The Big Laugh, which is 3 episodes of comedians doing stand-up comedy, 15-minute sets each. And that is recently released on Amazon Prime and Tubi and a few other streaming services. And also my experience with Zen comedy, which is 5 comedians doing their best sets in a Zen setting. And that's available on Amazon Prime right now. This video is going to be broken up into a few different sections. It's going to be before you actually distribute your special, before you reach out to the Hulu, Amazon, Netflix level streaming services that you're trying to get on, and before you really sign any contracts. And then I'm going to talk about during distribution, when you're talking to these distribution companies that are going to help you get onto the Netflix and Amazons. And then afterwards, when it's actually out, what should you be doing? A little bit of the marketing. Of course, I could do a whole separate video on marketing your comedy special. Let me know if that's something you would like to see from me in the future. But let's get right into it and talk about before distribution. Set some goals today of what you want to happen. Do you want to get onto Netflix? Do you want to be on Amazon? Do you want tons of eyeballs? Are you just trying to get rich off of it? Like, really just kind of think about, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish with this special? And I would be very realistic about it because it is really hard to get something onto Netflix, and it's really hard to get something at a high quality to get those eyeballs for like Hulu or Netflix interested in your project. I would definitely say, if this is something that you filmed in your friend's backyard with a couple borrowed cameras and it's not the best quality, you're not going to get onto the Hulu or Netflix level. They're definitely looking at a certain quality. Like, Netflix even has cameras that they say are the only cameras that you can use to get a Netflix project. Because I would say, even if you don't get rich from your comedy special or get a billion views on it, I do think having a special out on something like Tubi or Amazon will definitely open doors for you, especially if you don't have any TV credits currently. This is a TV credit, and you can start using that to help promote and open some doors and get some replies from comedy show bookers. And really, I think it could be like getting you to that next level in comedy, just so slightly, bare minimum, with a comedy special. So I'd keep that in mind, but yeah, set some realistic goals today. The other thing that I would think about before you even really maybe even film your special, early on, I would be thinking about deliverables. And that's what they call having everything ready that they need for distribution. So that's your file type, and then also your artwork and your subtitles file and a few other things like that. Depending on the distribution companies, they require more or less, or they make certain things for you and you make certain things. But I'd start having all that at least ready and having some kind of game plan, especially with your artwork. Your artwork is so important. I'd be thinking about that from day one, of your artwork and what it needs to look like, and work with someone that's a professional, either photographer or artist, to make that artwork. For example, with Zen Comedy, I hired this really talented artist, and he hand drew all of the comedians and really made the artwork pop. And I love it. I think it really makes Zen Comedy stand out. And when I go to Amazon Prime and I see it, I'm just like, yeah, that's great, and it's eye-catching. So at least bare minimum, that when you're getting onto these streaming services, that you're getting the most eyeballs of people interested at looking at it and clicking on it to learn more. Versus, if you don't have good artwork and you get onto, let's say you do get onto Netflix and you don't have good artwork, you're not going to get the same amount of eyeballs that you could have, and that's such a missed opportunity. So just take the extra second and start from the beginning on doing that, because I do know a lot of artists, they work on projects, filmmakers, stand-up comedians, we work on projects, and we put so much time and effort into filming and editing and selling the tickets to the live shows, that when it comes to the after work, the afterwards work of like making the artwork and making the marketing plan, some of that stuff just doesn't hit like it should because we're just so tired and worn down. So I would say start at the beginning of thinking about the artwork, thinking about your marketing, thinking about the deliverables needed, and really start piecing that together. Let's talk about finding distribution. That's, of course, while we're all here, right? Why everyone clicked on this video is finding distribution, because these are the gatekeepers that are keeping you from getting onto Amazon or Netflix or Hulu or any of those others like Tubi. These gatekeepers of letting you get your project out there. Distribution is important, and I think it's important to find a distribution company that you trust, you've done your research on, and that you're aware of what other projects they've done. One route that you may think about is if you don't feel comfortable or know a distribution company or think that it's up to a certain level, but you still want to aim for Amazon, you can do Amazon self-distribution. You can become a distributor. There's a whole sign-up process where you do Amazon Video Direct and you submit your project. It still doesn't mean that it'll get onto Amazon, but at least you'll get a yes or no from Amazon, and it's you fully, and you're fully in control of the project, and you don't owe anyone money, and you didn't sign any crazy contracts, and that's definitely a good route to be thinking about, especially with your first project. That might be a step into distribution that I see a lot of people do, and that's actually something we did with The Big Laugh. So I used a distribution company called Film Hub for about a year, and in that year they helped me get onto Tubi and a few other streaming services. And then we had no luck with them with Amazon. So then I talked to them and made sure it was okay for me to self-distribute to Amazon using Amazon Video Direct, and I submitted that. And I think it took like 3 months, and then finally The Big Laugh was on Amazon, and I'm very excited that that happened, and it really did help boost that project. Being on a main streaming service like that, it does get the eyeballs in it, and it gets your friends and family excited about your project. But as I mentioned, Film Hub, that's an option of a distribution company. I did tons of research and looked into them, and I felt comfortable of the business model and what they are capable of. So I went with them with The Big Laugh, and then I recently went with them again with Zen Comedy, and they are the reason why Zen Comedy is on Amazon Prime, and they got it up there very quickly. So that's cool to see, and they do have a little more power when it comes to Amazon. They can do a worldwide release versus if you do Amazon Video Direct, you're only going to get it, like for me, it's like in the US and I think Canada are my only options right now. So that's another thing about distribution companies. They can kind of get it out there a little bit more than you, even if you work directly with Amazon like I do. But there's tons, and maybe hundreds or thousands of distribution companies out there. So you could do your research and maybe find one and talk to them and have a meeting with them. There's tons like Indie Film Rights is another one that I hear a lot about. That's a more mom and pop shop in California, but they work really closely with their artists, and I hear good things about them. I personally have never worked with them. And then, of course, for stand-up comedians, there's a few other options that I want to kind of mention that maybe you could reach out to if you had a finished project. Like the company All Things Comedy. I know they release specials. Maybe if you had a really good trailer or finished preview of the special, you could send that to them and start having a conversation of distribution. And another one that I see a lot with my friends is Laugh After Dark. They're in Vegas, and I see them creating a lot of specials. So maybe you could work with them to even film it, and that would be wonderful. But I would even pitch them the finished project and just reach out and say, hey, here's my special. I want to get it on Amazon and Tubi, and I know that you do distribution personally with your projects. Why not mine? And see what kind of conversation. I think that might be a good way for comics to kind of get into distribution. But I would say there's tons of distribution companies out there, and there's also crazy contracts I see online. You should join some Facebook groups on marketing and distribution. There's tons for filmmakers. So I'm in those, and I would say that there's tons of great info about the contracts people have had, bad experiences they've had with different companies, and kind of look at that as you're talking to these companies that you're working with. I know that I've looked into distribution companies, especially when I was like thinking about releasing Zen Comedy on a different one than Film Hub. And I'll be honest, some of the contracts just scared me away of, so much for marketing and so much for that. So like they're going to put all this, they say they're going to put all this money out for you. And then after all that money is made back, that's when you make your money versus something like Film Hub that has no real contract and you're just taking an 80-20 split with them on the distribution that they get you, and then you're still able to do other distribution, like you can release it on YouTube if you want, or I released The Big Laugh on Amazon through self distribution. So yeah, like I would definitely, if you're going to sign any contracts, look it over, call a lawyer, like do some research, because it seems like a lot of these distribution companies can really feel like a money grab more than actually wanting to help you, and they're just going to hope that you promote it like crazy and you get all the eyeballs and they can just sit back and collect all the money. And that's so scary, and it happens to so many films. So take a moment and look at that before that happens to your comedy special and you're locked into some 5-year agreement with a company you don't even like working with. And like I said, Film Hub, there's no upfront cost, you know, which is really one of the things I liked about it. And so I'd be asking, what's the upfront cost? I know there's other distribution companies that say, give us $6,000 and then we'll get your thing onto whatever. But I don't know, be leery with all that when it comes to distribution, and just do tons of research. Okay, let's talk about after you get onto these platforms. Like, for example, we got Zen Comedy onto Amazon Prime right away. How exciting is that? So I would say these distribution companies like Film Hub, they're not doing the marketing for me. I'm doing the marketing. So I would be thinking about your marketing game plan from day one, and what's that look like? As soon as it comes out on Amazon, what are you doing? Are you doing a big blowout show, a party? Like start having some plan in place for the next 30 to 90 days, because that's so important. You want to get everyone excited, everyone watching it, everyone sharing it, because you need that big bump. And I really do think, from what I've seen in my experience with Zen Comedy and with The Big Laugh, it seems like in the first 30 days is really you're going to get the most views. You're going to get the most eyeballs on your project, and the most people are going to be excited. And then also, at a certain point, people are going to get tired of you promoting this thing, and they're no longer going to be, hey, congrats on the Facebook post or sharing the Instagram stories. People start moving on, and other projects have come out and they're excited about other things that friends are doing. So I would say the first 30 days is super important, and have a plan in place. Something we found really successful with Zen Comedy and also with The Big Laugh is doing a giveaway. So I ran a Facebook ad recently for the giveaway, and I gave away an Amazon tablet, because Zen Comedy is on Amazon, so you can use the Amazon tablet to watch our show, to watch our special today. So I did a giveaway of that, and I spent about $300 on the Facebook ad, and I just had a nice video running. It went to a landing page where they signed up with their email address, and that's all they had to do. They just had to do their name and email address, and then they were entered. And then for the next 30 days of the giveaway, I was just every so often sending out an email of like, hey, halfway there, we're excited about this, we're excited about that. Also, have you watched it yet? So every single email was a quick update and then a link to go watch it. I would say a good percentage of people that signed up went and watched Zen Comedy, which is exciting because these were strangers across the US that have never heard of me that are now watching my project. That's wonderful. And I got some really good feedback. And also we had like over 1,000 people sign up for the giveaway. So now I have 1,000 more people on my email list, and also a good percentage of them watched my project. That's pretty great. We're still like in the early stages, so I haven't seen how that's converted to the sales in my Film Hub dashboard yet. Like it's not updated, but I have a good feeling of like that's a good amount of people that went and watched it. So start making your plan today. Reach out to some distribution companies you find, like Film Hub, All Things Comedy, Laugh After Dark, Indie Film Rights, and so many more. And then when you're talking to them, look at the contracts, see what you're comfortable with, and then come up with a marketing plan and be open and honest with the distribution company you're working with and also anyone else tied to your project. And I really hope this is helpful. And let me know what else you guys would like to see about marketing your special or editing your special or anything else around creating this content for you. And I'm so thankful that you watched this. And please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon.